So, we are finally here. We are at home at last. We can hopefully shut the door to a certain extent on the journey. Although there's still other bits, there's still other things to tell you and things that we're going to have to do. But the actual staying in the hospital bit is over. We are now home. Halle is home. Mommy, Daddy and Harlo are all
You
home.
want to say hello? Say hello, everybody.
So there she
Say,
is.
I'm sorry for worrying everybody.
So hello
Did everybody
guys.
get a bit scared?
It's me, the leader of Halle's army.
You got
So,
your own little
yeah.
army on here.
I just want to say before we get into anything, like a massive thank you to everybody that has kind of been here
Oh, okay.
and been a part of the journey. Now, that's with likes, comments, shares, reposts, doing your own posts, donating, doing, putting it across different social medias, just making it a massive movement and a big journey. So, as you all know, she had RSV, bronchiolitis. She ended up getting basically put to sleep and in a coma, and then with the ventilator. Then they put her on the other ventilator, which is the one that shakes the lungs. She ended up, that. Then she ended up getting pneumonia. She ended up having one lung collapse, and the other lung started to collapse at the top a little bit. Then with that second ventilator that you've just said, ended up popping one of the lungs to then, which meant it was escaping out of the lung and it was filling up between like the rib cage and like the outer bit of the lung, which was then stopping the lung to expand. So there was on about putting basically a pipe in to drain it. Then that she wasn't doing well on that, so they put her back on a normal ventilator.
Oh, okay.
Then obviously she come off the ventilator back onto the CPAP mask, and then the CPAP mask to the back to the, I think they went to the tube. Then they ended up putting her back to sleep again and putting her all back through the ventilator and into a coma a second time. She's had X-rays after X-rays. She's had blood transfusion. She had the heart scan. She had an echo scan. She had an ECG. She had all of that. Now, obviously, we started off at the doctor's twice. That was on the Thursday and Friday. We got sent home. We got told everything was all right. It wasn't. We wasn't happy. Mum wanted to take her up to the hospital on the Saturday, so we went back. We went to the hospital to Good Hope, and she was really poorly when we went to Good Hope in Birmingham Sutton.
She was in respiratory distress, and it was clear as anything. I've got pictures and stuff and videos that I'll show you guys in due course of how she was from the Saturday going on from there.
So we're going to do this video just talking, but there's going to be other videos of pictures, things to look out for, so you can see how she was when she got sent away. So you can see the journey that we've had to actually witness and see for ourselves, and other things that have gone on which we haven't yet spoke about. So we got sent away from Good Hope. We was in there for quite a while. You could see it was bad. You could see the head shooting back. You could see the neck. You could see the chest all going. You could hear it. If you had your hand on her back, you could feel it. It was bad. And
she sounded like a steam train.
Good Hope, Birmingham Sutton Children's A&E sent her home. Said she was fine. Said there was nothing up with her. So, yeah, be aware, because that's what we went through. We come home after obviously being told she was fine. We monitored her through the night, and we went back up the next day. And back to Good Hope, Birmingham, Sutton. And from there, we was basically shit on again. Now, a lot of the staff couldn't believe that when they asked us how long she'd been like this, and we says we've been here yesterday and this is this blah blah blah, they were like, we can't believe they've sent you home. So that in itself, that was like, let's just say 5 members of staff or maybe more couldn't believe or get over the fact that we'd been sent away, but we had. And then from that, obviously, because she hadn't had a feed since 1:30 in the morning, and we got there, Good Hope, we'd told them over and over and over, every person, whether it was a trainee, whether it was a nurse, consultant, doctor, anyone else they brought into that room that we was in, we told them she hasn't had any fluid since 1:30. Now, they left her without, they didn't put the cannula in, they didn't put a NG tube, they didn't put nothing in her to give it any type of fluid, no bottles through the syringe, no nothing for the nose, no fluids, saline or anything, nothing. Like, she had absolutely nothing. And they just left her. Was it about 18 hours? Or
Yeah.
Roughly about 18 hours. It might have been a little bit less or a little bit more, give or take. So she went 18 hours near enough without anything at all. And we've got videos and everything, literally the whole journey, because of how we was being treated. Not us personally, but obviously how Halle was being treated, and it just wasn't right, and we knew it wasn't right, and we knew what was going on.
I knew what I was looking at on the Wednesday, and I said to the doctors when I went into the doctors on Thursday, I think she's got RSV. No, she's fine. No, she's fine. No, this is all I've heard. No, she's fine. Yet people say to trust the NHS.
We have got so much to talk about, and we have been, I don't know what the right word is, but we've been lied to and shit on and just absolute bullshit the whole way through.
Can I just quickly jump in? Although we didn't have the best experience with Good Hope, obviously the Saturday we won't even talk about that, but on the Sunday we didn't exactly have the best experience, but that doesn't mean that every single nurse we dealt with was that way. There was some really lovely nurses. I can't remember their names. I know one of them's name was Faye, and there was another two that was on shift with her at that point, and I can't remember your names, but if you do come across this, just let me know if you are one of them.
I would say there was 5 ladies that stuck out in my head.
In the day, but when they did the night shift, I can't fault one single member of the night shift staff. It was majority, I think there was one nurse named Mia, and that bunch of staff, but in the daytime there was about three to 5 nurses that we dealt with, and they were doing everything they could. Obviously they're not doctors, they can only do so much. So if you do come across this, please don't think we're coming at you, because we're not, because you did your job the best that you could.
I'm not saying the whole of the ward was a type of way. There was, I don't know the names, there was a lady with pink hair who dealt with us when we was in the first room in the children's A&E in Good Hope, and she kept coming into us, and an old elderly blonde lady,
I think she's a porter.
They kept coming into us, and they was lovely, and she was telling us how she's got another baby a couple doors up, and another little girl about the same sort of age, got the same stuff, both playing it up, and they was amazing. They, like, so friendly, just, they was great.
And there was another 2 on that shift, but I don't know what their names are.
There was the 2 young girls. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know.
One of you have already come across a video we posted, and you did let us know that you met us on that Sunday. I don't know what your name is. I apologise, but...
No, but that weren't one of them 2 that I'm on about. The 2 young girls that we were dealing with, when we got put in the main room on that ward where it was closest to reception to be monitored, the 2 young girls, there was the one who...
That's who found us.
There was the one who was doing a bit of work at the Birmingham Children's Hospital. There was her, and she says if you end up on the Children's, I might see her. She was amazing, and she was just at the end ready to qualify, wasn't she? Ready to pass her.
Oh, she was the night staff.
The night staff lady.
Can't remember
she
her
said
name.
She was basically floating between there, and she was going to be overworking at Birmingham Children's. And she was basically fully qualified. She was about to finish everything.
I think she had about 3 weeks
I don't
left.
know your name, but you was amazing.
And Mia.
Mia, the lady that you was working with, young lady with blonde hair, again, amazing as well. Yeah, so just had to pause that a sec. But yeah, those 2 ladies and the 2 ladies on the day shift, so the 4 in total, you lot was amazing and really helpful. There was... I don't know. There was the tall woman. as well. Yeah. On the night who was working with them two girls, that was the one that was constantly running about. Like I said to you, she was always up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
I don't know her name.
That
either.
night staff, honestly, I can't fault.
Like, they were amazing, but in regards of, like, I don't know names, but doctors and consultants and the people that kept coming in, you left her and didn't do nothing about it. And every time you come in, and I could describe it, and I might have photos and videos where I've caught you in there, I told you over and over and over again, every time you come into the room or I seen you in the corridor, I come out to tell you she still hasn't had a drip, the tube put in, and she still hasn't had a cannula put in, and it just got left and left and left. So yeah, that was the experience at Good Hope. Now, another thing with Good Hope is she got sent down to have an X-ray. Now, I must have asked about 5 members of staff after that X-ray if everything was okay. All of you, every one of you, told me that there was nothing at all on that X-ray, and that X-ray was fine. Didn't see nothing. And it was left there because I'd asked so many members of staff. That was left there, thought nothing of it. It was only after we got told that she was being put to sleep and the tubes and everything else, and she was in the bottom room. What's that room called that she got put? When she got sent down to Resus, where the X-ray and where they put her to sleep and they prepared her ready to be transferred to Nottingham Hospital, we went down there when the transfer team turned up, and there was all in the room. And in the room there was a screen to the left when you walked in, and the X-rays were still up on the screen. Now, on the X-rays, they didn't look normal. Now, we're not experts, but it didn't look right. It was very dark and clouded and almost like the only way to describe it is if you was smoking, and it looked like smoke across the X-ray in certain parts of the lungs, and it didn't look right. So I turned round and I didn't ask all the people and the main doctor or consultant. I asked the member of the person that was transporting her, the critical care team, and I asked about the X-ray. When I asked about the X-ray, this main doctor or whatever he was, who was in the room, heard me ask about the X-ray, and he come straight over and cut the other person off and was like, "I'll show you the X-ray, this is what we found." Bearing in mind, I'd asked him, I don't know how many times, before we'd even got down there, if the X-ray was alright for however long it was, and he said yeah. And he was like, "I'll show you." So basically, this is what we found, and that's then when they told us about the lung collapsing, and how the other lung had started to at the top. And I just looked at him and thought, I've asked you so many times, not just him, a lot of the others, and it's took for me to catch a glimpse of it, to ask someone who's not from this hospital, for you to now tell me what's up with our child. So that was something else that went on. Then we got sent to Nottingham, which was a big journey. To try and make things work when you're over there, it's hard. So we got sent over to Nottingham, and the level of care...
This is itching.
I feel like in regards of hospitals, and we've been in a few ourselves, it was right at the top. I don't know about other wards, I don't know about other places within that hospital, but who we dealt with and the ward we was on and the facilities and everything else, I cannot fault it.
Absolutely amazing.
All the nurses, doctors, anybody that had any part to play in Nottingham. Do you know what ward it was? Was it just the PICU ward? So the PICU ward, their whole team and staff was amazing in all levels. Even to the lady that was dealing with us, who sorted out our room that was in the corridor where we were staying. She was she was bang on with everything. She was so nice, so friendly. The people behind the desk, amazing. The people that were looking after her and doing the morning, the day shift, the night shift.
Honestly, every nurse, doctor or consultant that had Halle while she was in intensive care, I can't thank you enough.
We took a couple of tubs of Quality Street and that, and they were so nice, and they did such an amazing job. And a few of the men that worked there, in the black.
The consultants.
The consultants. Like, I basically said to him, I says, look, this is what we've gone through at Good Hope. If there's something we need to know, don't fuck me about, don't bullshit me. No matter how hard it is as a parent to hear it, tell me straight. I was like, I'm one of them people where I'd rather you just say it as it is
My clothes are
than
itchy.
try and, like, I understand it's his job to try and, like, with the care and to try and put things across in the best way he can from from his position to ours, and I just says I don't want none of that. If it's something really bad or it's this and this, tell me. Like, I don't want to be kind of bullshitted or led to believe it's one and it's the other. I was like, so please tell me. And after I had that conversation with him, he was bang on every time. He's like, you've said you wanted this, so I'm going to say this. And he would just put it out there. Every time he'd just be straight with us. And it's what I asked for, and it was nice to actually get that after being fobbed off so much with Good Hope. But if anybody's child is poorly and different hospitals are being shouted out to you on where you might go, I would recommend pushing for Nottingham, because if anything, God forbid, was to happen to any of ours, touch wood, nothing does, I would want to go back to Nottingham, even though it was far away.
Yeah.
I would rather that and the child get the best care than be at the likes of Good Hope or Heartlands. Now, we was at Nottingham, and the only thing with us being at Nottingham is they want to try and prioritise Nottingham patients. So when they have other patients coming from all different areas, they will do the best that they can while they're there, but they will also be phoning daily. Once your child is at a certain point, they will be phoning daily to your local hospitals, because they're trying to get you in a bed when a bed comes available, and they want that bed then free for their own patients who live within that area, which is fair enough. Now, we was praying that we got sent to Birmingham Children's, because all we heard was good and positive things about that level of care there. Now, we've already had experiences with Good Hope, we've already had experiences with Heartlands. We know there's good people there, but there's a lot of bad, negative stories to do with different things. You've only got to go on our comments, and there's thousands of people saying, oh, I hope you don't go here, I hope you don't go there, and then they're telling you the stories. Like, it's just known for it, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to put... If you're watching this video and you work at Good Hope and your Heartlands, I am not saying every member of staff in every division and every ward. We are just talking about the people that we've interacted with and the people that have dealt with us directly. So we can only tell you our journey and our experience. So you might work on a different ward and you might be the best out there and in your position, but we can only tell you and speak from the journey that we've had. So that is it. They might, just like Nottingham might have really bad wards, and we're here bigging it up. We're bigging up our experience through Picky. And just like we've bigged up the people on Good Hope, who was really nice, we've also then done both. Do you know what I mean? We're not just slating the whole hospital, we're not slating the whole ward, we're just on about different people and what's actually gone on. So we did our whole journey at Nottingham. Obviously that was where it was touch and go a few times. That's where it was one step forward, a few back, and it just went on and on and on and on. And I can't thank everyone enough for the supporting us and keeping us going, because some days we got back to that room for 5 minutes and like you just wanted to break down because of how hard it was seeing it. Maybe we just had a lot of bad news, just one thing, because there was days where all we got during the day was bad news. We didn't really get anything positive at all, and there was a lot of days like that where it just seemed to go on and the nightmare there was no light shining at the tunnel, and every time we was around the bed it was just more and more. Someone else would come in and it'd be bad news, someone else would come in and it'd be bad news, and then it'd be like, so what is it? So for a lot of the journey all we was getting was bad news and days on end, and it was so hard for us to see her like that, see Halle just lying there like looking like lifeless, like obviously in a coma, and just hearing more bad news, and it was like So like sometimes if you went outside just for a bit of fresh air, it was nice to see like all the loving messages and the comments and just seeing all the purple hearts coming through. Like that in itself was just amazing. Like it is hard to talk about it because it's so fresh, but I think talking helps. And I also think
Oi, get in there now.
you lot deserve to know everything. You followed the whole journey, so we're keeping you updated on where we're at. What else? So then from Nottingham, we got sent to Heartlands, and we've kept our mouth shut. If you've probably noticed from the whole journey to when before we got to Heartlands, we was trying to keep you all updated and we was telling you as much information as possible. You might have noticed that when we got to the next hospital after Nottingham, the content changed and everyone would be like, oh, you're in the best place, you know, she's getting the best care. Oh, this, that and the other, you're closer to home. Like, and we've had a few comments like, why do you want it out? Like, first of all, if your child has gone through what ours has, naturally, you just want your child home. Like, that's not saying I'm going to take my child out and put her at risk and she's not going to get the care. I just want being selfish. No, you just want your child to be well. You just want your child to be home. So please just allow your stupid comments. So we didn't post as much at Heartlands because the experience we've had at Heartlands, truthfully, has been dog shit. Absolute dog shit. And I'm not too fussed who's offended with that.
I don't want to get into that right now,
like,
in detail.
No, because we're still having to deal... Halle's home, but she's not 100%, and there is a lot of appointments that are booked. There's a lot of checkups, there's a lot of things that are still going to have to go on. There's still things going on with her heart, her lungs, obviously her leg again at some point. There's still a lot going on, so...
I need to ring
There's
Jill.
certain things that we aren't speaking about yet, but without going into too much detail, again, there was a couple of people that we dealt with while we were there, 5-6 days, however long it was, that was really nice. I'll name one of them, Luna, blonde hair, young lady. She dealt with us the last couple of days. Can't praise you enough, you was amazing. One of the nurses who looks after her.
Oh,
Lena, sorry. Was it Lena?
Yeah, she's an outstanding nurse.
She was amazing. There was the lady on the night shift, you was amazing, and there was the trainee lady.
All the student nurses.
The trainee lady in the white and the yellow, the trainee outfit, who, if you see this, I don't know if you will, but I kept asking you for like the sheets for the bed and the pillowcases and things like that every day. You was amazing as well, and I'm sorry I haven't caught your names. And there was another lady, I can't say too much, but we had a big issue on the first night of being there. A big issue. And certain things went on. And let's just say the care wasn't there. And another lady come to kind of de-escalate the situation. And her name was Karen, and she was like the head lady of the HDU ward.
Yeah, she was nice.
And she come to apologise, she come to reassure us, she was amazing. Like, you took your time out, you come and kind of de-escalated what was going on with you know who. And you was amazing as well. And we seen you, I think, the next day, I think it was the next day. We seen you, and again, friendly, nice, everything. Like, can't fault you either. Now, I am gonna mention that there is was he a consultant?
Yeah.
So the consultant, again, I don't want to say too much, but so everybody that's followed the journey knows that from when Halle was in the belly, we've had issues with her heart rate. We was at triage constantly, then we was at NICU. There was problems with, obviously, her breathing, but also the heart rate up and down, up and down, up and down, not really stable. It'd be stable for a little while, and then all of a sudden out of the blue would skyrocket or a dip massively. And that wasn't to do with the probe, because the lines, you can tell through the lines, and it wasn't to do with her shouting or kicking off or wriggling. She could be lying still, she could be asleep, and this would happen.
That's continued obviously through to this whole process.
Yeah, so we had that at NICU, we had that in the pregnancy, we had that during Good Hope, we had that during Nottingham, and then we had that during Heartlands.
Can I just quickly say something on that? I've had a couple of comments saying, if a heart rate was like this during the pregnancy, why hasn't it been investigated? I don't know how many people I have got at and asked and just gone on and on and on and on to do some investigations. There's only so much I can do as a parent when I'm constantly asking for things to be checked.
Listen, at the end
no
of the
one
day,
wants to do it.
She's got a gob and a half, and I don't really care how certain things come across. I'll say what needs to be said. So don't just put a dickhead comment and make out like, oh, why haven't you done this? Believe me, we have spoke to everybody over and over and over again, whether it's doctors, hospital, no matter what member of staff or what their job title is, we have been screaming it the loudest for the longest. So don't think, oh, why haven't you done? We've tried. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so frustrating when you get a dickhead comment come onto a video. Just think before you type, or watch some of the other videos. Like, we've fucking spoke to loads of people.
There's only so much we can do. We are not in the medical profession. I can't just go and get it checked, go and take her into a room and stick her on whatever to do it myself. I have literally gone on at everybody. I've had a bit of attitude during the way, and I'm not going to apologise for that, because at the end of the day, as a parent, and no one wants to listen, it's frustrating. It's like, why haven't you done this? What? I have done this and I have done that, but nobody wants to do anything with it. Now, let me just say, her heart rate still was unstable when she was being transferred from Nottingham to Birmingham.
Okay, so as I was saying, so like when we went from Nottingham, obviously there was still an issue there with the heart. We went to Birmingham Heartlands, and we was told originally, which is another problem, right? Originally, you are gonna be on a HDU ward for 24 hours to have, I think on a HDU it's one nurse per two patients instead of one per one. So we says, okay, fine. So when we got to Heartlands, we was under the impression we are being sent to a HDU ward, which was fine because she hadn't long come off the CPAP mask, and that's what was meant to happen. Her stats wasn't, like, all of them wasn't stable. Obviously, there was still the issue with the heart. Okay, fine. So we got to Heartlands, and we got put on a ward. Not going to say the number yet, but we got put on a normal children's ward, where, bear in mind everything that she's gone through, and we've been told with the white, she might have a white blood cells dysfunction, is it? Immunity dysfunction. So she's prone to picking anything up, and you put us on a full children's ward, so great. So that's where we ended up. So we weren't too chuffed about that. We got there, and we seen the ward, and then she'd been put in one of the rooms, and as we was walking to her, we could hear, I've gone off topic, but I'll come back. We could hear the alarms going off, and there was a person, I know his name, but I'm not going to out him, but there was a person on there who didn't even go and check her. But at this point, we didn't know it was her alarm going off. We've gone into the room to get set up and everything else and see what's going on. And then we've opened a baby grow, and the probe that checks the heart rate and everything else wasn't even on her. It would come off, and she'd just been left. So that was the first thing. And then there was a few other things, which is what we're leaving out of the story at the minute, which then led to, obviously, Karen coming in and speaking to us. And then as the journey's gone on, we've spoke to one of the ladies that come in, and I said, so why is she actually here? Like, what's going on? Because really, we still don't know why she is the way she is. We don't know if there's an underlying thing. We don't really know what's going on. We know she's had the RSV, the bronch and everything else. The problem with the lungs, and we know all of that. But why is she still going up and down, up and down, up and down? And they couldn't give us any answers. And I says, technically, are we here purely on the fact of taking her off the drugs, like weaning her off them, and to get her back on bottle? And they said, yeah. And I said, so while we're here, there's no tests being done? Says, no. I said, so there's no bloods. There's none of the ones that get sent off and grow them for 3 days. So nothing's being tested. No one's coming to check nothing. No. We are literally going to wean her off the drugs, come and check her obs every 4 hours or whatever it was, and get her back on bottle. We weren't happy with that because she, at that point, and she's still poorly. Obviously, she's got the withdrawals going on, but you can still hear it in her chest. And
I'm just going to go and quickly ring physio.
her heart rate was up, down, up, down. So the consultant, that went on for a few days. Obviously, she went on bottle. Then she ended up coming back off the bottle. And then she went back on the bottle. And then it was coming down on the withdrawing her. Weaning her off it, sorry. And then it was looking like we was going to be coming home. And the consultant come in and says, we're going to give her a bottle. After the bottle, we will do her obs. And if the obs are okay, she can go home. So we had the bottle. After the bottle, he come in and says, oh, the heart rate is too high. And we was like, it's been like this from the start of the journey. I was like, not only this, let me tell you, the same consultant that said this, who said, you now can't go home because they're too high. He says, we need to keep you in now to monitor the heart rate. Because originally he'd been trying to blag it and say the heart rate's high because of what she's gone through. And because they're weaning her off the drugs, that's what's causing the heart rate to go up. So when it gets to a point where she's practically off the drugs, and the heart rate's still either going right up to like 220s or dropping right down
Can't get through to him, I've left him a message.
to say like really low. This consultant that said to us that he's got to keep her in to monitor and check her heart rate, this is where it goes left again, turns off the machine that keeps an eye on her obs. So the little machine that does the beeping and alerts you, and it's got the little lines and it's got the oxygen and the heart rate and everything else, turns it off and that just leaves it. So one, you're now bothered about the heart rate. Two, you've turned the machine off, which lets the nurses or whoever's looking after her keep an eye on it. So how are you going to keep an eye on the heart rate, which is the reason why we're now staying here, if you've turned it off? So if you come in 3 hours' time and you say to the nurse looking after her, how's the heart rate been? What's she meant to tell you when you've turned the machine off? So this was another argument that went on while we were there. And I spoke to the nurse on the night and I says to her, I says, sir, if he comes to you tomorrow morning and asks you how she's been, what are you meant to tell her when you haven't got when he's turned the machine off? I says, if he's going to turn the machine off, why are we even here? Because we might as well be at home if you ain't going to actually have the machine on that monitors and lets you know. If he comes in and asks you, you can't now say, 8 o'clock last night, the machine, the heart rate was at blah, blah, blah. I says, you've got no information to give. And she's like, I understand what you're saying. I'll call someone. And it's like, all right. So, yeah. And then the same consultant who stopped us from going home because of the heart rate, who was the same consultant who then turned the machine off to keep an eye on her heart rate, was also the same consultant that sent us home the next day after not knowing anything about her heart rate. Work that one out.
Hold up. Not even just that. So, obviously you've got an issue with the heart rate. I have got no issue with her staying in the hospital if investigations are being done. My issue with her staying in the hospital for so long while nothing's being done is she's now a risk to catch something else. She's come home and she's sniffly again.
She's snotty, coughing.
So, naturally, this is something I'm now going to have to keep an eye on. Harlo has now got a chest infection.
I haven't even got onto the Harlo thing yet.
So
So,
obviously, my issue isn't her staying in hospital. If she's getting what she needs, I've got no issues her staying there. By all means, keep her as long as you need to do whatever tests, whatever it is you need to do. I don't know how many times since we've been back in Birmingham, I have mentioned I am not happy with her heart rate. I want something done. I want cardiology involved. I want this done. I want that done. Well, she's had the echo. She's had this. There's nothing we can do.
That kept screaming from the rooftop to get the heart scans done. So if it weren't for us, we wouldn't have had the normal heart scan, we wouldn't have had the echo, and we wouldn't have had the ECG. This is only because the person that I explained earlier in the video, who I had the conversation with at Nottingham and says, look, tell me straight, and when I was having that conversation, it's only because we kind of built a bit of a relationship with him and was dealing straight with him, and we kept saying it, that we pushed and he ended up sorting that out. Otherwise, those three things wouldn't have happened.
But every single day that we've been back in Birmingham, I have mentioned her heart rate going up and going down to every single person that I have spoke to. Every single doctor, every single nurse, everybody. There's not much the nurses can do. Obviously, they can only do so much because of their job title. So, I've mentioned it constantly and no one has had any kind of concern about it. And I kept saying, I'm concerned about this heart rate. It's been like this the whole time. It was like it through the whole pregnancy. It's not right. Something's not right. And all we kept getting told was, we'll keep an eye on it, we'll keep an eye on it. We were also told that her bloods needed to be checked to see if her white blood count has come back up. No bloods have been done. Nothing. It was asked from us when we was there, when's she going to have some bloods done? Oh, she doesn't need them. Okay?
There's so many stories surrounding Heartlands from what we've had to deal with.
Then, we're getting discharged from the hospital. And I said, so is nothing going to be done, like, oh, well, you can come back in 2 weeks for an ECG. In 2 weeks? In 2 weeks, right, okay, which you could have just done while she's been here, or you could have done some kind of investigation while she's been here. You can come back for an ECG in 2 weeks. It says, what about a blood count? When's someone going to do her bloods? Do we not need to get some bloods done or something? No, I don't think she needs them. And I says, well, when was the last time her bloods were checked? In Nottingham. I said, we've been here 5 days now and nothing's been checked to see if her white blood cell counts come back, because we were told once those bloods have been repeated, if her white blood cell count hasn't returned to normal, some investigations need doing to see if she's got an immunity dysfunction. I had to ask for her to have some bloods done because they were like, oh, well, I suppose we could book you some blood. You can go down to, is it called phlebotomy? Something like that on your way out, on the way home. But I had to physically request for some bloods to be done so I can see what I now need to do next. Cardiology is not involved.
And I just want to say as well, Heartlands Hospital, it just felt so dirty there. Like, didn't even see one cleaner anywhere, and like you'd go into like different rooms or the ward, or let's say you go to the toilet or what, and everywhere just felt dirty and just it was vile, man. The whole experience has been shit, but Heartland's experience alone was probably I know the journey at Nottingham was worse with the situation, but the staff made you feel the best that you could feel during it. But the situation at Heartlands was vile. I don't ever want to have to go back there.
I'll tell you one thing. If we ever end up in a situation again, I am refusing Heartlands Hospital, and I will not be told again that we don't have any rights to transfer, because that's what we've been told. We were told we don't have rights to transfer. So the one situation that went on, and we wanted out of the hospital due to this situation. Yeah, so we wanted out of the hospital after this situation on the first night or first day, whenever it was. And we was asking, we want to get off this ward, we want to be moved to another hospital. We're not now, with what's gone on, we're not comfortable staying here. So it then got flipped to basically
if you take your child out of this hospital, we will be calling the police. You will get arrested. Your child will then end up getting brought back to the hospital, and you will then be banned from this hospital. Now, let me just get this clear, that at no point during what went on did either of us say we was going to just take the baby out of the hospital. We asked them if we could be transferred to another hospital, because the level of care and the situation that's gone on, we've got photos and videos of everything that happened during this situation. That is the reason why we wanted to be transferred. Now, we weren't happy with Good Hope, but it was that bad there that we would have happily gone to Good Hope. 100%. So just understand that what went on was bad enough that we would have gone back to Good Hope, which was where we had the problem with at the start. But yeah, and it basically got flipped to, if you go out of this hospital, this is what's going to happen. And like, we didn't want to take her out of the hospital. We were asking you, can we be transferred? So yeah, anyway, now through staying at this dirty, grotty hospital, Harlo has obviously picked some up.
I've been in the doctor's with Harlo this morning. He's now got a chest infection and he's on antibiotics, but I have also spoken with the doctor, and she is the doctor who Halle will be dealing with, because if she said, I've read the letter sent to me to do with your situation, and Halle was supposed to have an appointment with me 2 weeks ago for her 8-week checkup. I know what's happened. We will rebook that. I said, that's fine. I said, when it comes to it, I might need you to make a referral to cardiology. She said, we will speak about that when we go in, and she has her checkup, and then hopefully, touch wood, we will get some answers to what's going on with Halle, and she will be referred under the right departments for the right people. But it's tough for all of this and how bad this situation. I can't even really talk about the situation that much because it makes me want to cry. Like,
yeah, I said this earlier.
I have shed so many tears. Look, unless you've been in this situation and you've had to watch your child like that.
I think it's one thing when your child's poorly and you're in and out, or maybe your child has got some sort of condition and you're in and out of hospital. It's another thing when your child is on a ventilator fighting for its life and you don't know whether it's even going to come out of it, to then end up going through the same situation again straight away. Because she come off it and then obviously went back through it, so we had to watch her get put to sleep again and everything else. So to go through that twice, I think, as well.
I, myself, obviously managed to get a cuddle with Halle before they put her back to sleep for the second time. And I broke down just before they were about to do it. When Halle was in my arms on the CPAP mask, I was just in floods of tears. And bless her, the nurse in charge on the ward that day, she wouldn't leave my side. I didn't want to give her back, but I knew she needed to go back down that route. But just knowing it was going to happen again, it's just hard to talk about. And if anybody thinks this whole journey has been easy, we have had Harlo with us the whole time and we've had no help.
No
help. We haven't, not even one day.
We haven't got any family members that can actually, or could have actually have had him. Like,
it's been rough.
It has been hard, and the whole experience is hard. Living in the hospitals, seeing her go through everything, not knowing is she going to come out of it, like, just watching all different things. Times when she took turns for the worst and being right there and seeing it, and I don't know, watching all the tubes being put on her and watching different ventilators, watching her whole body shake, watching the physio where they're banging her, trying to get
I need to ring these
3 bits up in the lungs, watching them suck everything out the lungs, being told that lungs are collapsing, being told, like, it was so much and so quick.
And also, I do want to also say one thing as well. To the people that want to get in the comments and tell me, I've done this to my daughter. I've done it. Did I make RSV virus? Did I create it and put it out into the air? No, I didn't. Learn what you're talking about before you get in my comments and you're talking your shit. I've got the discharge paperwork that states what she went in for and what she was treated for and how bad it was. And it even states on the paperwork that the intubation was difficult. So they had difficulty intubating her. Hence, they even have wrote on there they've tried the oscillator, which is something they don't tend to use. But because she wasn't responding to the ventilator, they brought the oscillator out, and it looks like a prehistoric machine, but it does the job. But Halle couldn't take it. So, before you get in my comments and tell me that I am the reason that my daughter has ended up the way she has, and I've done this to her, and I'm an awful mother, and I'm this and I'm that, know what the fuck you are talking about. Just educate yourself. I did not create a virus and put it out into the world. You clearly are so uneducated and whatever. Like, I already felt the way I did for the last few weeks without having to get told constantly by people on fake accounts how much of a shit mum I am and how my kids deserve better than me and I'm this and I'm that and I've done this and I've done that. You have no idea, unless you have had a child in intensive care, what that feels like. Whether you don't even know if you're bringing your child home. And there was times where we spoke during this situation and it was looking a type of way, and we both cried about it and said there might be a chance that she's not coming home. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, they can't stabilise her. So that just shows more about what you are as a person than it does about me. Because honestly, I've got no words. I just think that has gone
in
on.
a time like this, if you can see what a family's going through and you can see how poorly a child is, I think to talk shit on a comment just says a lot about him. Like, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say it. And if you don't like what you see or the content or us or whatever, then just do the right thing, be an adult and block us and
what
just
the hell's
scroll.
the lecture like?
Well, anyway, so as it stands, Harlo is really poorly. He's not drinking, he's not eating. We've done him all different drinks. He's got all different juices. We've been out and got loads of different ones to try and get him to drink. He will have a little bit of hot chocolate now and then. He's not really eating at all, which it was like this towards the end anyway, because normally he gets like this with change and not being at home and having to stay out and being at the
and
hospital.
it's been hard for him as well.
It was a mix between that and then being poorly. So that now we're home and he's still not doing anything. Like, obviously we've gone to the doctors. The doctors have said it's a chest infection. What's he on? Antibiotics. So he's on the antibiotics, and fingers crossed he gets better.
She's just told me to keep an eye. She said, you're doing all the right things, you're looking out for all the right things, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Just keep an eye on this, keep an eye on that, and if he doesn't start drinking and he's got no wet nappies and whatever, then take him to the hospital.
Halle is comfortable and she looks okay, but obviously we still don't know what the issue is with the heart rate. We've got the checkups to do with that. We've got checkups to do with the lungs, obviously, after what went on. Checkups to do with her leg, obviously getting the casting sorted again.
We was meant to go for that today.
I didn't end up speaking on it, but if you're still watching, we did end up getting the cast cut off while we was there. Even though we was told that couldn't be done, it ended up being done.
It's a scary looking machine, though.
We've got that to go through as well. The only thing at the minute, like she said, it looks like she's caught something. She's coughing, she has got the runny nose.
So now I've got to watch her like a hawk.
She sounds funny again when she's drinking. It almost sounds like it's in her chest.
And I did also ask that question yesterday, how soon can Halle catch RSV again after she's already had it? And their answer was pretty much.
And bear in mind, Harlo is ill. So we're trying to keep him away as much as we can from Halle. Because we don't want Halle getting whatever it is that Harlo has now got.
But they live in the same house and things are airborne. And yeah, it's just a vicious cycle.
So we've also got the worry of not knowing whether she's going to fall really poorly again, because she might catch whatever Harlo's got and it end up being worse for her. So yeah, there will be more videos and everything coming with pictures and everything like that, but this is the first one that will be going.
I now have to literally disinfect every corner of this house because I am that scared of germs.